Hello ladies and gents, welcome to a new night point of view review. It's a rainy night. We're gonna check the new Renault Austral in front of us. This is the strongest mild hybrid. It's the 1.3 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder petrol engine producing 160 horsepower and linked to 7-speed automatic. If I unlock the car, you can see a little gimmick here, dance with the headlights. If I turn it on, you can see those. We're gonna check the performance outside the city. These are standard. There's optional matrix. We're sitting on 19-inch alloys. I would prefer maybe 18-inch, more comfort, but the suspension is quite comfortable. And if I hold the remote, you can open up the cargo space. Fifth door opens nice and tall. We have 500 liters of cargo space, very spacious. Inside there's one light and there's a spare wheel. If you knock down the seats, you get 1,525 liters of cargo space. If we close this up, very silent closing sound. Very nice. Let's jump inside. It's a keyless entry, so I'm gonna keep the key in my pocket. Inside you're greeted with this beautiful animation. Now let me just store that key fob and get ready, get my seatbelt on. So let me just check the camera. I think we're good and the camera should be dry. Okay, let's turn on the engine, get some AC inside. Okay, so before we start, just a little comment on the new dash. So let me just lower the fan speed. So I think this shouldn't be too loud. Well, we have a new 3-spoke steering wheel. This is also shared on the new electric Megane, which I'm gonna have tomorrow on the test. So I gotta say, really nice refresh. It's the same functionalities on the steering wheel, but it looks a little bit more refreshed. I gotta say, I like the new badge. I was skeptical at first, but it looks very classy. Now, yes, on the day review or day point of view, this was all flashy. In persons, none of the screens are flashing, so this is really good, and it's nice and fast infotainment, but only on the camera at day it really flickers a lot. Yeah, we have ambient lights on the front. At least it looks very nice. It's tied to the driving profiles. Let me show you those. And of course you can customize, you can change those. So we have comfort. I'm going to be driving in comfort mostly. We have eco, we have sport, and we have individual or personal. You can configure this one. I mean, you can configure most of them. So you can control the engine here. You can have normal, sport, or eco. Steering, low, medium, or high. So it can give you more feedback. And over here you can see chassis, normal, comfort, or sport. You can change the intensity of ambient lights, and you can have it on changing, or you can have it on personal, and then you tap here and then you can change any color your heart desires, so to your personal preference. Very detailed infotainment. I love the animations. And also, before we go driving, I'm going to say new trip here, so we're going to reset everything. Now, yesterday I tested the car and I was driving around 50 kilometers in normal, and then last 10 kilometers in eco, and even in normal my consumption stabilized at 5 liters. This is driving 60, 70, 80 through the city, and nice gentle driving. So this car could be economical depending on the driver and the driving style, or it could be thirstier. Okay, and I think I've showed you everything. Okay, let's just show you the Apple CarPlay. It's wireless. Now you have this beautiful screen. It's vertical like in the early Tesla Model S. It looks like an iPad, to be honest, on this size of the icons. It is nice and fast. You can use Waze and Google Maps, whatever you prefer. Now I'm gonna stay on the embedded navigation. You can press here to have a full screen, or you can like press back at the bottom, and you can of course customize this. Okay, now let's demonstrate some music. Okay, commercials. Let me just check here. Okay, to show you, I have some presets here. Okay, I can't play the music for too long, you know, the drill, copyright. So the speakers are quite good. You can adjust here what kind of type of sound you want, and then you can here adjust where you want the sound, bass, middle, treble, and so on. Again, very up-to-date modern infotainment system. Simply, you know, looking at the best competition is a Tesla. So I'm really glad that Renault decided to step up in this field, because previous infotainments were kind of laggy and so on. Just to show you here, you can have a minimal display when driving, and you can put it to standby, so you have just a clock here, and that's it. There's a screen cleaning mode, but you don't need to see that. And last thing before we start off, actually I can show you that on the highway. So put it to drive, and let me just show you actually reverse. You can see the parking cameras. You can switch to rear one, but you can also see that in the garage here. So drive, and just so you can see this lever is not really practical because there's a wiper stock here below it. So when you put it to drive, it's okay, but when you want to put it to reverse, you might hit the other stock. So, you know, I think they could have added here, like on Audi, this is just like your handrest. So that's it. Okay, sorry for the long introduction. I think, you know, there's some things I should have mentioned. Okay, I think I've actually left these on by mistake. So you can see the car now in the normal ambience when the lights are off. Very beautiful, if I may add. Unfortunately, there's no ambient lights on the back of the car. I wish they didn't save money on that, but it is what it is. Okay, A-pillars can be a blind spot, and I think in general that's an issue with Renault. Even this middle mirror part on the top could be a blind spot when you're, you know, on a traffic light. Like in this case here, we have traffic light in front of us and across the street. So if I come to the front now, from my eye angle, camera is slightly lower, I cannot see the traffic light. There's a lot of glare since it's rainy, but I can see the light shift, and there is light across, but usually there's no street traffic light across, like in this example. So there we have a problem. Okay, before I start summarizing everything, I gotta say I'm really impressed with the Austral. It's such a good SUV overall, and I'm gonna come back to that at the end. Now, the 160 horsepower petrol is excellent. I would say they really, you know, got the right amount of horsepower. Don't worry, I'm paying attention to the pedestrians. Really enough amount of horsepower for this size of an SUV. It's not too heavy, but it's an SUV. It needs power. Now there's 140 horsepower version. I think it was like something like 130 or something less. I forgot from the top of my head. And personally, I wouldn't go for the entry model. You should at least go for the middle or this strongest version. Simply because it's always better to have more horsepower, and then you will have less fuel consumption if you're driving car, you know, more than just short trips, because more power moves the vehicle easier and then spends less fuel. Handling. Well, handling's actually quite surprisingly good. If you're not too aggressive, and in the bends the car doesn't lean too much. It's very stable, but it has Michelin primacy tires, and these are really good because they have a low rolling resistance, so they give you good fuel consumption plus good grip. But I think in this kind of rainy conditions you should be more cautious, because if you accelerate too strongly, you know, the tires slip. So just have that in mind. But otherwise, very good performance regarding fuel consumption. And this car, well, it costs a lot. So if you are, you know, economical in driving, and you know, accelerate and then you let go of the accelerator and let the car coast when you anticipate you need to stop for the traffic light in front of you, then it's going to be very efficient because of the low rolling resistance of the tires, and you're saving fuel every time you let go. There's actually a coach here. We're gonna check it a little bit later to see our, you know, score in fuel economy. Now, brakes are not super aggressive, but they're just, I would say, in between of like standard and slightly aggressive. It's just, you know, in between. Usually the brakes are, I would say, very few are lately braking. Most of the cars brake nicely, and then there's those brakes who are aggressive at start. This is something in between, like not super aggressive but slightly grips more than just like the standard, if you understand what I'm trying to say. But so far I didn't have to, you know, do too much hard braking, but the few times I did, they're really good. Steering. The car is nice and precise in this standard mode. There is this more of easy steering. It's the softest setting you can put, and then it gives you more maneuverability on parking. Also, you can go to the sport mode, and then it gives you more resistance, more feedback, and it's more precise, so you can decide what do you want. Now, regarding suspension, it is really comfortable, and I've been driving in a comfortable setting. It's the setting I like the most. In the sport mode, I think it gets slightly stiffer, but I didn't really notice it as much. Wow, it's raining a lot. The rain was just like starting to slow down, and I decided to go film, but it's just, yeah, it started to rain more. But what can you do? You have to do your job. So I hope that you're okay with this. I was actually filming last night my b-roll, and it was super late and I got tired, so I really didn't want to drive tired. So I kind of postponed it for tonight, despite knowing it was gonna rain, but I was hoping it'll be less rain. Anyways, sorry for the little detour from the review. Now, I think it's also nice sometimes to drive in rain. It's just relaxing. Now, automatic. Well, the automatic's actually good in shifting. I don't notice it too much, and I'm trying to be here objective, since my regular audience knows this. I drive a Tesla, so I'm used to now electric cars. So there's instant torque, there's no shifting. And wow, what was that? There's some sort of message, check something, and then it just disappeared. Didn't have time to read it. But I did get some, you know, messages, parking sensors and so on, just because of the rain, you know, going or water dripping down. I guess we're okay. Anyways, you know, I'm used to instant torque, and this car, I would say, you know, for ICE standards or internal combustion engines, actually quite good. And I like the performance. If I speed up, you can see the car nicely speeds up, and even in the comfort setting, it just feels very good. Now, if you're driving in the eco mode, it's gonna feel like the engine is numb, but it's actually quite good if you're cruising and, you know, you're cruising at a certain speed, and then you want to limit your fuel consumption to the minimum. It's gonna be more efficient rather than staying in the normal. Now, there's a little con. I'm on a traffic light, and there is auto hold. But with auto hold, the car at some point just like decides it goes slightly forward, and it keeps resisting the auto hold. And for some reason, I don't know, I don't like it. And then when the traffic changes, the traffic light, excuse me, when it changes and I press the accelerator, it just takes a moment to release it, and it gives it resistance, and it's an awful feeling. It's really not smooth. So this is the first con I really don't like. Now, regarding the interior, the seats are actually, I would say, fairly comfortable, but they don't have they don't have lumbar support, and it's so important to have lumbar support, especially if you're a taller person, because of your lower back. And on longer journeys, you know, I was driving this car yesterday for an hour, a little bit more, and I was okay, but, you know, I still needed to stretch my legs. I wish there was lumbar. It would be more easier for my back. But, you know, this is, I think, for the most part, tall people's problem. So there's that. Now, I've mentioned the stock here. It's really not practical when you need to go to reverse, because you're going to hit the wipers. Otherwise, it's actually quite okay. Let me see, that's what happens. I was holding the brake, and then you just, I don't know, it doesn't feel right. Now, let me show you here different screen options. So you can have maps in front of you. So like if you're here in a driving coach and then you're checking maps, you can see that. There's also another bubble here, but I've kind of removed that one. Now it's raining, so our fuel consumption is high, but I can see it's dropping while I'm driving. Now over here, this menu is one with the car, and it shows you both lanes. I can see the camera is slightly fighting because it's raining, so the conditions are not ideal, but it is showing you the car on the side there. There's some big manholes, but the suspension is still comfortable, not too hard. Now if I change the view, there's this like speedo in the middle, but if you change the side here, then you push it to the side. But I like the one in the middle. And then if I press again, there's a classical one with the two bubbles. Now, I really like the digital cockpit. It's nice colors, informative. Now, our fuel consumption is dropping to 7.5, but we're gonna punch it here a little bit, so hopefully we won't ruin it that much. And I'm gonna go to the sport mode. Now, there's slight changes in the speedo, like design-wise. It looks very nice in the sport mode as well. Let me just switch the view here. Okay, I like this one the most. Now this one. Now the performance of the LED headlights is quite good. We have automatic long beam. This is 130. I'm gonna punch it. $150. I'm gonna slow down because I can feel there's some, you know, water, so I want to get some aquaplaning. Drive responsibly. But just a short demo for you, but we're gonna adjust to the conditions on the road. And I'm gonna just come back to the comfort setting. Now the engine is a little bit louder in the sport mode, but generally in the comfort mode it is actually not that loud. I really like it. Now we can go to the Eco just shortly, and I can feel the car being numb, but if you just stay at the speed you want to, it's fuel efficient. Now there's a day point of view driving video where I've showed you, and you can hear all the sounds. There's slight wind that day, but soundproof is good up to 130, and then 140, 150 gets allowed since it's a boxy, tall shaped SUV. Now let me turn on the cruise here. Press set, and I'm just gonna say 100 here. Now let me show you the different screen option. So you can see in the middle you can adjust the distance. Now a lane assist, I was not super happy with the lane assist. It's not that good. It doesn't keep you always in the center. See, it's gonna go to the side and then bounce you to the middle, and then you start going to the other side. I'm not really happy with that. So on my test in a Benz, it just gave up. It's not perfect. These systems are not perfect in general, so always keep your hands on the wheel. Don't get too comfortable with this. Now I just want to show you the minimal display here. So if you have kids, you can, I guess, switch that off. Now I'm going to overtake this truck because he's driving slightly slower. Just press on the screen, it comes back on. Ukraine plates. Terrible thing happening in the world. We shouldn't be making wars in 2021, or excuse me, I wanted to say 21st century and 2023. Okay, navigation on. Yeah, I wish we had better conditions, but sometimes you just have to drive in the rain as well. I feel very comfortable in this car, and you know, it feels so good when you're driving it. You're also nice and tall. You can see the bonnet in front of yourself, or the hood, and you have a good overview around you. Now the A-pillars and the middle mirror is sometimes an issue, but it's manageable. And overview behind you is a bit narrow. You can see further behind you, but when you need to park, you have those 360 cameras, so it's all good. And I think in reverse the left mirror dips down, but you know, parking shouldn't be an issue with this SUV with all the 360 camera assistance. It's an option, but yeah. And also I can't remember from top of my head, I think it was also an option, but on this SUV or the Austral, you can spec an optional. I know we had this demonstration on the press conference. You can add rear axle steering, so it helps you to do a better U-turn, and it is amazing because it could do a turn that Kajar couldn't. It's almost like a Captur, so very impressive. Okay, I can also use the speed limiter to just limit my speed. So it is really raining quite heavily. I've seen worse, but just in this kind of conditions, always, you know, be smart, adjust your speed, especially if there's a lot of water on the asphalt. Also, if there's not a lot of traffic and you think that one of the lane is more not dry but has less water on it, then change your lane. You can hear now there's less splashing in the wheel arches, so you have more grip, you're more stable. And in the middle lane and the right one, there's like there's like, we call those, I don't know the translation, but you know, there's like tracks that are kind of from the semis or the lorries, they're kind of sagged, and then there's water like pools there, and then it's, you have less grip, you're more prone to get aquaplaning if you're driving faster in a heavy rain, so have that in mind. Okay, now let's check our coach here. Driving Eco, so 7.3. Well, considering there's rain and then it gives you more resistance, I really hate this thing. So I was holding my foot on the brake and I should have released it, but it just then, I guess, gives me some resistance. Yeah, I think we can do even in rain better fuel consumption. It tells you here how much distance you've covered while coasting or not pressing the acceleration. So yesterday I have, like, in 50 kilometers almost 15, or almost 20 kilometers or more. I think it was more, 25 maybe, of just coasting. So that's the fuel you save. So after driving almost 55 kilometers, fuel consumption has dropped from 8.2 to 7.7. So here's a little coach, so you can see this, and I've actually coasted for 21 kilometers. So if you deduct this, it's pretty good. And my average fuel consumption was 5 liters. It was around 4.9, but circle around 5 liters. And there's a score here. I got 80 yesterday, so obviously the acceleration score is poor, but anticipation was actually almost perfect. Then it tells you here how much saving you did through history. And let me just show you here consumption. So you can see the spikes here, and this is where the car was idling, but yeah. So I actually got the car with 8.2 in the fuel consumption, and I had that on my day point of view. Yesterday when I was driving, I've managed to lower it to 7.7, but I had to keep driving the car, but it was really late, so I didn't just want to do that anymore. And I told you, you know, I had a busy day, I was kind of tired, so always safety first. I'm just gonna leave it on this. Now I'm not gonna do 0 to 100 because of the conditions, and this car has, I think, almost 9.7 seconds 0 to 100, so that's 10 seconds, really not fast. Parking sensors unavailable. Huh, I guess they're obstructed by the rain or something. So this car is not perfect, and there is no perfect car, let's be honest, but it's very good, very comfortable inside. It feels on, you know, premium level, and it's the best build quality in Renault so far. Definitely better than the Captur, Clio, Megane. It's built the same way as the new Megane E-Tech, the electric version. Okay, so let's do a stop here. Now we have cornering fog lights, and fog lights are integrated into the main headlight cluster. You can see the headlights, and this is the long beam. Wow, it's really bright and wide. Let me just wipe that again. So I'm gonna take my iPhone to show you how it looks more in person, because this is GoPro 9 doesn't have that good sensor for night. Okay, so this is the normal beam, and then this is the long beam. It's very bright and wide, so quite excellent performance. Now we're going to the bend. So the long beam turns on. If I speed up, and then you can see maybe or not the cornering fog lights. So if I slow down, long beam should shrink. There you go. And then if I speed up, it should turn on. There you go. Now, just a little FYI, in the latest few cars I've tested from Renault, and I think even from Dacia, I have a feeling that the new cars were coated with a ceramic coating. So I might be wrong, but I think that was the case. Wow, why is it doing this? Okay, navigation, and let's search here. So always be patient in traffic. People are sometimes impatient. You can see here I got two options. I'm just gonna pick the one offered. So you can see Google Maps, and let me show it to you in the middle screen as well. I know you're gonna want to see that as well. So it's a nice navigation, so I can just have this. Okay, one thing almost forgot, but I didn't. You're gonna see it better this way, maybe. So you have music here, you have eco monitor, you have odometer, and then you have the fuel consumption, average, and current, and you can have nothing. So in this mode you can see the car is picking all the lanes, but maybe slightly the rain is confusing it now. I like this centered one. Go back to that. Time to sum up the whole impressions. Well, definitely one of the most comfortable SUVs I had lately on tests, and I quite like it. Now in Croatia, the entry price for this SUV is 35,000 euros, which is actually, considering today's prices and inflation, quite okay. Now this car has a few options like 360 parking, lane assist, and so on. Not to forget here, just to check the price. I forgot from the top of my head with all the options. Yeah, it comes to 39,000 euros. So that becomes expensive. Yeah, that's the reality of today. Everything is inflated. That's why it's called inflation. Hopefully it will pass and we'll get back to normal soon, economically speaking. All around, as I've said at the beginning of the video, excellent SUV, and it's nice and comfortable. It's spacious, practical, big cargo space, very comfortable on the road, could be fuel efficient depending on your driving style. And I love the fact that it is also like a smart car. This infotainment is Tesla level. Volkswagen didn't put the effort to get this quality of infotainment, you know. I'm sorry if the camera is shaking a bit. I'm having lately issues with that. And I'm not sure what's happening here with the screens. They're like, whoa, it's like the brightness is changing. Huh. Like, I'm not sure if like when I'm staring at the screen or is it just something getting messed up. I was just trying to put a good word to it and it just starts acting up. That's weird. Now there is actually a button here on the side that you can control the brightness. You can check that in my full detailed review, but yeah, I'm not sure what's going on here with the screen now. I didn't notice that yesterday. I didn't have that problem, so I wonder if there was an issue. The little screen message that popped up at the moment. Well, yeah, we're here. Thank you, Google. Now, let's lower this down. Fully automatic. I think you should have come a little bit closer. What happened? Wow, actually when I release the brake, it just like stops. I guess the auto hold engages a little bit late. Yeah, the auto hold thing, not perfect. Well, actually I'm gonna go down because I think there's, you know, when it rains, people like to go shopping. I guess it makes sense since, you know, well, my AC is not on automatic. That's why the whole car started condensating. There's a difference in temperature. So if you don't know this, keep your climate on automatic. Then when it's cold or rainy like this, you won't get foggy windows. So let's see, I might park somewhere here. Now, as I've mentioned, this car could do a really nice U-turn, so that's good. Okay, let's park here, and I'm gonna be 100% honest. I did stop and wipe the droplets from the cameras because you wouldn't see anything. But the camera system is actually quite good. You can see that. It gives you the projections and everything. So it's really good. Even if I check the mirrors, always check your mirrors, but this system is actually quite good. Again, I'm not sure what's going on with the screen. Maybe if I reset the car, that usually helps. I hope you can see that. We can switch the cameras here. You put it to drive, it switches to the front one. You can see that. You can see side markings and your wheels. Let me see for the backing. No. And you can see 360 actually. Look at this. That's amazing looking. So it's pretty accurate, I think, although they didn't match the avatar color, but okay. And yeah, just to check our driving. So it was rainy and fuel consumption was dropping, but considering the conditions. I think yeah, actually I know I've tested it yesterday. I got 5 liters, so that's actually not bad. You can see score here, we got almost 70. We're going better here, especially on the acceleration, but I got it around 80 I think last night. And savings, there's like, well, best history there. Yeah, but to park and switch off. So everyone, I hope you liked this review. If you did, consider subscribing. It's completely free, and if you do subscribe, click the bell to get notified when I upload more videos. I do a lot of car reviews. I didn't cover all the brands, but I've covered most of them. I tested on the same route, so you can compare the cars. And I would really appreciate your subscribe, because it will help me. I'm trying to reach 100,000 subscribers. Getting close. I think I'm at 91,000. So I would appreciate your like, your share of this video. If you have some friends looking at the car, or if you're in forums from Renault looking at Austral. And what else? Yeah, that's it. Also, every comment helps the algorithm to promote the video to other people looking at this car. So if you find this video informative, it helps if you do all of that. Just do a little walk around. You can see the car, this light, it's beautiful, a gorgeous looking SUV. And I really like the performance of these LED headlights, also quite happy. And I love the taillights. I think they were like dynamic turn signals on a test car, but I think maybe it was a different package. They press the unlock, you can see that. So gorgeous looking, and that's all. Just to show you the gimmick when you lock the car. Also does a little dance, a little bit different, but it's quite nice looking. There you go. So thanks for watching. Again, stay safe. Hope to see you in the next one. Bye.